Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And you talk about sick. Well, Hollywood continues to fall and crater into hell if it wasn't already there, if it isn't hell on earth with this new allegations. And there are lots of allegations now. There's so many coming up about these other stars, but this one we're going to concentrate on is the case of Timothy Busfield. This is not a major star. This is not somebody that Timothy Busfield is one of those guys you see in 100 movies. You don't know who he is, but you always see him in these movies. He was in The West Wing. He played the reporter that was trying to bang the press secretary. I forgot her name, but he was in that show for a little bit. He was the kooky brother-in-law in Field of Dreams. He was on a show called 30 something that was on in the 80s and 90s. Not a major star. His claim to fame is that he married Laura Ingalls from the Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie. He mostly became a director and a producer of these quirky TV movies that nobody really gives a shit about. But anyway, he has been accused and charged now with 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. This took place while making a film in New Mexico. Busfield, who left his home in upstate New York, there's footage of the police ramming down his door in New York. He drives to Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is almost a 24-hour drive. I've done that drive a few times to California. It's not a hop, skip, and a jump away. Evading police until the U.S. Marshals were summoned to find Busfield and bring him in, and Busfield smartly contacted his lawyer, and he surrendered to police. I think it was yesterday or today. Now, the question is, why would Busfield go from his home and drive more than halfway across the country to Albuquerque, New Mexico? What's he evading? Why is he evading police? If I'm not guilty of this, if I have nothing to hide, if I have the truth on my side, now sometimes even if you have the truth on your side, if there's a major power entity that wants to destroy you, they can. But let's say in this case, Timothy Busfield isn't being sought after by powerful entities. I have the truth on my side. I have nothing to hide. I'm going at this head on. Because these 2 boys, they are 11-year-old twin boys who starred in this movie. If you know anything about movie laws, at a certain age, you cannot have 1 child actor acting in the entire film or the entire series. It's usually they have twins, they look alike, and they swap them to split time on set. So these 11-year-old boys, that's what I'm guessing is here. They have 1 boy that they have 2 boys who played 1 kid on this show, and supposedly he was tickling them, tickling their legs, tickling their bellies, and after a psychiatrist spoke to the boys, one of the boys admitted that Busfield touched his penis and his rear end, which is, to me, in my world, if I am the headmaster of the planet, it's automatic gallows. You're being hung. That's it. But unfortunately, we have courts of law that will feel sorry for this guy, and there will be people in Hollywood who will come to this guy's aid. Now, allegedly, this all happened, and he turned himself in, and a judge remanded Busfield Wednesday during his first court appearance in New Mexico on multiple sex charges Judge Felicia Blay Rivera ordered Busfield held without bond pending his next hearing to be scheduled within the next 5 business days. The judge also set a January 29th deadline for a preliminary hearing. Now, Busfield is 68, surrendered Tuesday to local authorities on these sex charges, days after the arrest warrant was issued. He is held without bail at this time of his arrest on those 2 counts. The Star denied these claims upon surrendering, and he is, quote, determined to clear his name, according to a statement by his lawyer, Larry Stein. Wednesday, Stein told Fox News that Busfield has submitted a polygraph test and passed, which is... Now, polygraphs, they go a long way, but I don't think they're used in court to make you to decide whether you're guilty or not. I'm not 100% sure about that. But the whole independent part kind of bothers me. Because if it's somebody that he paid to do this, the questions that they ask may be leading, they're supposed to ask you like yes or no questions. Who knows how this happened? But apparently Busfield passed this polygraph. Which is a good step in the direction for him. New Mexico criminal defense attorney and former state deputy district attorney John W. Day admitted Busfield's defense would likely urge a judge to release the actor from custody. Prosecutors also filed a motion seeking to keep Busfield in custody while the case proceeds through the judicial process. That was Yellow County District Attorney Sam Bregman said online, quote, his defense team will argue that Busfield ought to be released. He's not going to go anywhere, Day told the Fox News Digital. Prosecution may agree to that, or they may say, no, we think he's a flight risk. Well, if he's a flight risk, take his passports away. Put one of those monitor things on his ankle. Put him under house arrest. The criminal defense attorney noted that prosecutors may argue that Busfield took, quote, several days to turn himself in, while the defense could say that the Field of Dreams star was driving from New York to face the charges. Listen, okay, the charges were in New Mexico. Hey, get a lawyer down there. I'm going to take a flight down there. I'm going to let them know I'm going down there. Or he could have surrendered himself in New York, and they would have repatriated him back to New Mexico. It looks very bad at the fact that he was gone for several days, and yet you get the U.S. Marshals involved. It wasn't a good thing to do. Quote, it's going to come down to what the judge thinks is appropriate in terms of this case, Day said. Information about Busfield being able to leave the country. He might have surrendered his passport. He might be put on an ankle bracelet, which he should. He may just be released on his own recognizance with the promise to appear. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen. This is a very, 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 these cases just keep coming up over and over and over again. And it's just unfortunate that they do. Now that's a picture of Busfield. This is, of course, him appearing in court. And this is his hearing. And let's see, this is about 1 minute and 16 seconds. Let's see what they have to say.
On the record, FR 273-2026, State of New Mexico versus Timothy Busfield.
James Plummer for the state.
Amber Feuerberg on behalf of Mr. Busfield, Your Honor, who appears in MDC custody.
Good afternoon. Mr. Busfield is set for felony first appearance this afternoon. Counsel, have you had an opportunity to advise your client?
Yes, I've had an opportunity to advise my client of the charges against him, the possible penalties, and his rights. He does not raise a probable cause challenge at this time as a result of the arrest warrant, and I understand, Your Honor, that the state has filed a motion for pretrial detention.
Thank you, counsel. That's correct. It looks like a probable cause was found on January the 9th at the time the warrant for Mr. Busfield's arrest was issued. And Mr. Busfield, the state has filed an expedited motion for pretrial detention in this case, sir. That means you will continue to be held without bond pending your hearing before the district court, sir. That hearing will take place within the next 5 business days. Your deadline for preliminary hearing is going to be January the 29th, sir.
And Busfield just stands there because he's not going to say a word, which is, again, very, very smart. Now, Busfield does come out. He does come out with a video, and these things I don't understand why they do this. He comes out with a video. Well, I'll show you. Here he is. Oh, come on.
Hi, everybody. It's Tim. I'm sure most of you know that are watching this that I was ordered to come to Albuquerque. I'm here now. I got the call Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car. I drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque. I'm going to confront these lies. They're horrible. They're all lies. And I did not do anything to those little boys. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it with a great team. And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong and all lies. So hang in there, and hopefully I'm out real soon, and back to work. And I love everybody for supporting me. Thank you.
All right, so there's his, of course, his plea that he's innocent and blah, 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 blah. Now, his lawyers told the New York Post that these alarming allegations were driven by revenge. His lawyer, Larry Stein, claimed the boy's mother told an actress on the set of this movie that they were making that she wanted payback after her sons were cut out from the show's final season. That is very significant, because these Hollywood moms are insane. I've worked on sets with children before, not at this level. I was never a director or producer, but I was a script supervisor. And these parents that are on set are outrageously insane because they live their lives vicariously through their kids. They always wanted to be movie stars themselves, so they push their children to be in movies and TV, and they push these kids to the point where if they think the kid is too fat, they'll starve them. If they think the kid is not performing well, I've seen parents, give their kids smacks on the asses. Hey, listen, step it up. Come on. I've seen it. It's not out of the realm of possibility that this is the reason why these allegations were made. Again, I'm not giving this Busfield a pass because we all know how Hollywood is, and it's sick. It's a sick place, and it's getting sicker. But would you be surprised if you found out that this mother coerced those boys into saying these terrible things? I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. Now, of course, the copycat element now comes into play because Busfield is now been accused of sexual abuse of a 16-year-old girl several years ago in Sacramento, California, by the prosecutors in New Mexico, as a new motion was filed today. This is what's going to happen now. Now you're going to get all these accusations from 30, 40 different fucking people over the last 10 years or 20 years that this guy was touching him and he was inappropriate and he was creepy and he was cringy and blah, 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 blah. He's going to have to deal with this now. If no one saw this, if nothing was going on during this seems like it's a TV show. Let me see if I can find the name of it. Geez. It seems like this was a TV show that he was directing. It was called The Cleaning Lady. If this show was going on for years, it says the alleged abuse began in 2022 when the boys were 7 years old, according to the warrant issued on Friday. A criminal investigation began in 2024 when a physician notified police about the suspected sexual abuse after examining one of the children at the University of New Mexico Hospital, according to the complaint. This is now 4 years ago that this happened. Why do these things take so long? Why is he being brought in now? Well, there's an answer to that too. And the answer to that is the parent company who is producing this show, and that's Warner Brothers. Attorneys for Warner Brothers told police that they held a prior independent investigation into these allegations and found no evidence to support any of the claims the complaint alleged. And many people speculate, and again, this does happen, that the studio may have tried to bury or buy out this woman to shut her up, and she didn't take it. Yeah, again, this is speculation on my point. Warner Brothers did delay this by having their own independent investigation. I mean, who the fuck are they? They're a movie studio. We have children who are abused over here. This has to be brought to the authorities. This has to be brought to a higher authority than Warner Brothers. This is something that's been going on now for, well, it's now 4 years. These kids are 11 years old now. This is an issue that's in Hollywood, and it goes both ways. It goes both ways. These parents are out of control. And anybody who puts their kids into movies and allows these boys to have sleepovers with these stars or be alone with these stars for a long period of time, they're just as culpable as far as I'm concerned. Now, according to the complaint, Busfield is accused of inappropriately touching one of the boys 3 or 4 times and the other 5 or 6 times. Why was he alone with these 2 boys so often? Wasn't there anybody else around? There should be a handler for these children when they're not on set. When they're not on set, in front of a camera, in front of the 50 people that are on in that working area, they should either be with their parent or with a guardian that the studio hires or the parents sign off on. They should never be alone with anybody else. These parents are just as culpable as anybody else. Now, if this guy Busfield did this, he should burn in hell. We all know that. But these parents, they have these delusions of grandeur, and they will do anything and everything they can to push these children to be stars. They see them as meal tickets, not as children. At Hollywood, again, it just seems to be every single time. Hollywood seems to out-skeeve itself over and over and over again. Now, we will be, of course, paying attention to this coverage as it goes on. I don't know what's going to come of this. My guess is this: there's nothing to this. I mean, if this investigation's been going on for 4 years and now they're coming up with stuff, I mean, I would not be surprised if the mother coerced these boys into thinking that they were touched, because listen, when they're 7, 8 years old, you can convince kids that things happen that didn't. And the mother probably pushed them into believing this. They're actors. Remember, these are child actors, so they probably gave the psychiatrist a bill of goods, and now this guy Busfield's going through the ringer. Or they could be true. Again, that's why we have courts. That's why we have attorneys. That's why we have investigations. And that's why we'll wait before we speculate on any of these allegations. But it's awful. It's awful either way. The people that are abused are those 11-year-old boys. If they were abused by this Busfield guy, burn them in oil. If they're being coerced by their mother to lie, they should never be able to work in Hollywood again. Ban this family from ever being involved with Hollywood again. It sucks for them, but the mother is apparently out of control. But we don't know. That's allegedly. I mean, Hollywood just doesn't seem to stop. It's a cesspool of vermin. And anybody that wants to get involved in that, listen, I think I've told you this before. I was in media for a long time. I have friends that are in Hollywood that work at much lower level, not directors or producers. And they tell me stories and they tell me stuff that would, you think it's one of these film noir movies of, like something from Stanley Kubrick. It's just awful. But people sell their souls for fame. Vanity is one of the greatest sins. Don't fall for it. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friend, Satan is always busy, as you can see. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.